Hey everybody, it's Greg Whitstock, the Pond Guy, and it's August 21st, 2009, and I am pumped because we are at my head guy's house, Brian Helfrich, who has lived without a pond and a water feature for 8 years, and today, after having built the pond a month ago, we get to landscape the job. So come on back and see what we've got going on because it's going to be a fun day.
It all started with a dream of building a pond in my parents' backyard. My buddy and I would go fishing every single day. We would go and catch these goldfish, catch these bass, catch these bluegill and stuff out of a local pond, and had the dreams of, hey, one day let's fish out of our own backyard. Well, my dad went out of town for about 2 weeks. Came back, and I had dug a 20 by 30 foot hole in the side yard about 2.5 feet deep. And it didn't really look like a hole, it was more like a meteor had hit the ground and dirt had just fallen all over the place. So then he was stuck with trying to figure out how do we keep water in here, how do we make it look nice and everything else. And we battled with that thing for about 3 years, going through different filters, going through the different cycles of your pond being crystal clear for a week, then turning green, then turning black, then smelling, then fish dying, and when the fish were dead is when you knew you had to clean it. Heard about this company, this young guy that was out building ponds and building these eco-friendly ponds, crystal clear, low maintenance, and so we called up Aquascapes, Greg Whitstock, and my dad and I picked Greg Whitstock's brain for about 3 hours. Greg told us we need to put rock and gravel in the pond, and he sold us some prototype filters. It was incredible. I finally had exactly what I wanted. I think I was right around 17, 18 years old. I was out in the yard, probably should have been working someplace, but wasn't. Didn't have a job at the time, but was spending most of my free time goofing around with my pond. And it was my mom who put the phone to my head, dialed the number, and said, talk to this guy, get a job. I'm not leaving here until you set up an interview with Aquascapes. I signed up because I wanted to work outside. I loved being outside, I loved creating things, I loved landscaping, I loved all that kind of stuff, and my background was my own yard, so not a whole lot, but had a passion for it, and I think that's probably why they hired me. I started working just after they launched their first mail order catalog, and they needed somebody in the warehouse. The warehouse kid that was there didn't work out, so Brian, hey, you're going to be working in the warehouse. Being my first day at the job, I sure wasn't going to complain about it too much. Well, my days in the warehouse went from 1 day to 2 days to a month to 2 months, and it was driving me absolutely insane. As insane as it was driving me, I think I was also driving Greg crazy because every single day they'd come back from the field and I'd beg and beg and beg to work on the crew. Come on, Greg, let me work outside. I want to build ponds. I want to build ponds. It was about a week later, Greg finally said, okay, Brian, you're coming outside. We need you. It's a big project. We need more manpower. You need to prove to us that you can do this. So I'm 18 years old. Hadn't done a ton of physical labor, but sure wasn't going to be the guy that quit. To this day, I still think it was the hardest job we've ever done, and I'm convinced that Greg wanted to kill me. I was not allowed to build waterfalls. Brian, just bring us rock. And so all day long, I ran up and down that hill. In that time, I also forgot that sunblock was a necessary part of the day, too. And I remember finishing the day, and Ed and Greg just kind of staring at me, thinking, wow, that's a different shade of red I've ever seen before in my entire life. I was pretty sunburned. From that day on, I'd been outside ever since. I've been working with Aquascape since 1995, and the passion of having my backyard pond in my yard has now really gone to everybody else's until today. It's just so neat to come home and now enjoy the lifestyle that we've all talked about. I haven't had a pond now for probably 10 years. It was actually my wife who said, Brian, you are one of the best designers, best pond builders I know. You are building your pond this year. I almost had to treat it like I was building a pond for a brand new customer. The customer, of course, being my wife and my 2-year-old daughter and my dog Rocky. And when I designed it, what were things that they would like? This is what I call Abby's Pond. This is the place where Abby comes, plays in rock and gravel. She's got her waterfall, she's got her little tiny shovel, she's got her beach ball, she's got her buckets. She brings her good friend Lucy down here, and the two of them will sit down here for hours. Now we understand what all of our customers think. You know, I love the morning for the coffee. I love the afternoon for the enjoyment of everybody being around it. And I love the night because of the peacefulness of the whole thing and just how tranquil it is and quiet. It just takes on a totally different look at night. And I get it now. Now I can pass this on to everybody else and more importantly, understand where they're coming from. I thought with this pond, I pulled out all the bags of tricks. I've got basalt column waterfalls, I have a covered deck with bridges coming to it, I have fish feeding rocks for my daughter, I have an entrance for my dog. Believe it or not, there's things I do different on this pond. And what's neat for me to see is how far I've come in the last 15 years building ponds. You look at the style compared to then to now, completely different. You look at the techniques we're using, completely different. But our inspiration, our passion is there, and that's what makes the ponds better and better and better again. I always say to all of our past customers, our ponds are fantastic, and as much time and effort as we take in carving every boulder in the place, it's nothing without the plants that interact with it. Me understanding what customers go through and seeing the difference in what landscapes look like the first year compared to the way they look like the 5 years, now I know how they feel when the landscape goes in the first year. It's not quite the way it looks on all the pictures and everything else, but seeing all of our past customers and seeing their ponds evolve, I kind of get, you know, butterflies in my stomach knowing that this pond is going to be absolutely beautiful in 5 years. It's definitely not finished, it's a work in progress, but it's pretty darn close. All right, so this is really what it's all about. The whole inspiration of this area and a lot of the pond is about my daughter Abby here. Of course, every morning she runs up to the windows over here and points out to the pond and says, hey, where's the fish? Where's the fish? And in this area she knows very well because every day we make sure we come out here and feed the fish. With her limited vocabulary, she named the one butterfly koi Baby. And now you ask where Baby is and she points right to the orange koi over here, which is kind of neat. Where's Baby? Yeah. Where's Baby? Right there.